Thanks for joining me for this special edition of AM Talk. We're speaking to a very special person, a known personality in this country, especially in Ghana's politics. We're speaking to Dr. Apraku, one-time Minister of Trade and one-time Minister of Regional Integration and Party, but also three-time Member of Parliament for Offenso North in the Ashanti region. He is also a member of the New Patriotic Party. And we're very much privileged to speak to him. Hello.
Pleased to speak to you too.
Okay, it's been a while. Now, your party has just completed its conference not too long ago from Tamale. What do you make of the conference in itself?
I think it was a very successful congress for more than one reason. One, that's the first time the party has gone to the north to have a congress. And I thought that was a bold initiative that was very welcomed by all members of the party. Second, we just did not go there. We left behind the chairmanship of the party. We elected somebody from northern sector, specifically the Upper East, to lead our party. To me, it was like a sense of going back to the heritage of our party. The party had its original roots in the north. We've not done very well there. And this was a symbolic gesture to them that we acknowledge them, we are willing to work with them, and indeed we are willing even to hand over the party to them. So to me, it was very good that we went there.
Now, especially when, well, after all the upheavals that characterize pre-congress or pre-conference, you went through a very successful phase that speaks well, not only for those 5,200 excess delegates who were there, but also for the party in general.
It is. We all had apprehensions because we have had a very contentious campaign during that period. The period leading to the conference was very tense for our party. We were all praying that it will hold, peace will prevail, sensibility will prevail, and that the people going to make the choices will be very reflective of the need to select the very best that the party can offer. And I think in the final analysis, that's what happened.
Well, you're not new to Ghana's politics. You've been around for some time, since 1992. Now, tell us about your experiences while in government.
Well, maybe I'll go back a little bit before we get into government, because we went through a very difficult period, and I want to go back because I see a lot of semblance between the situation that we have been in before going to power office and the situation we find ourselves right now. You may recall that we started this Fourth Republic with the 1982 elections. I was very closely involved, very close, confidant and aide to Professor Dubois. In fact, I came to Ghana on his instance. So very, very close. So I saw it up close. We worked very, very hard. We were confident that we could even win that election and win it well. Unfortunately, we did not. Professor Dubois had 32% of the total votes cast. He won only one region, Ashanti region. We went on to 96, and he was challenged by President, then Mr. J. Kufuor, won and went on for another election. Our fortune did not change significantly. We won again one region, Ashanti region, and 39% of the total votes. I'm not going to get into the arguments about all the issues regarding it, whether or not we felt cheated or whether indeed there was cheating. I won't get into it because that is for history to judge. My own sense of it may be biased, but I felt strongly that somehow we've been given the wrong end of the stick. We did not get deterred. We worked extremely hard, and this is where I want us to focus on. One thing that really characterized the party at that time was unity. Unity of purpose is strong determination that we can make an impact on the Ghanaian political landscape, and that given the opportunity we could deliver. Those of us who were in parliament led some of the fights. Everybody was energized, from polling station all the way to the national, including those of us in parliament. Especially, our responsibility was to articulate a clear policy direction, show Ghanaians the skills, the experience that we had, and that when given to us, we can manage this country well. I think we did so well. We were able to make a distinction between NPP and NDC. We've never wanted to be like NDC, and to me it was very important that we give Ghanaians a clear choice.
So basically you were talking about the situation in which the party was after 96, Kufuor did not win.
Yes, so some of us decided that the argument against Professor Dubois, among others, was that he was too old. And he wasn't that old. I supported him. I did not feel that he was too old to be able to perform. But nevertheless, that was the argument, and through which, or part of the reason why Mr. Kufuor won. So then we came to 96 after Kufuor was unsuccessful, and some of us, much younger people, said, oh, if the argument is about age, then we can also offer ourselves. I think I was about 40 at that time. I offered myself that if you were looking for a younger person, then look at me. Obviously, I wasn't successful. Kufuor was number 1, Kufuor was number 2, I was 3, and we took it at that. We united once more, like never before, determined to win power. And we did. We did. We won impressively with 6 from 1 region in 2 consecutive elections, 39% marks to 57%, the second round.
But is it also because there was an overwhelming sense that perhaps, the J.J. Rawlings-led administration of the NDC had overstayed its powers, so to speak?
Whatever be the reason, Ghanaians were looking for change. And that desire for change was so strong. And we offered it, not just change for change's sake, change with a message, change with credibility, change with a record, articulated change with a vision and a different course, direction for our nation. And indeed that was what happened.
And so in 2000 you came into office?
We came into office.
You got appointed as well?
Got appointed as well. But the most important thing is that we knew what we wanted as a party. We were focused, we worked together, and we got the results that we desired. In 2004, we won again, consolidated the base from 1 region to 6 regions, consolidating that base in 2004. So when we went into the next election, we were properly grounded, not just because we have won 6 out of 10 regions, but also because we have demonstrated clearly to Ghanaians that we can deliver on the economic front. And our performance, Conservative Party that have engaged itself in many social programs, we on balance satisfy the social demands of our people, the business, the middle class. I think we had covered all the bases, such as the Americans would say. We covered all the bases, and we felt we were positioned to build on the legacy of President Kufuor and demonstrate clearly that Ghana can go to places. That is where we left off. Today, we find ourselves in the same position.
No, we'll talk about the party though, because I asked a question about your experiences in office as well. During the very period, with the assistance of Ahmed and a couple of your assistants as well, I had close interaction with you. How crucial was it that when you, as a crop of politicians who had been in opposition for a very long time, you still had the energy, you had somehow the experience where you got it from nobody knew, but you performed adequately in office?
Well, the motivation was high. We had a very strong leader who watched over us. The party was together. Our meetings as a cabinet was very well and very well patronage. We had a clear sense of direction. I think when the government does not deliver, a fundamental problem may be whether they are properly focused. I look from outside now with a little experience that I have, and I see a lot of things that if we were in government, we would do it differently. Particularly given the current situation, the economic situation that we face, we would do it completely differently. We work hard we had a good leader, we had tenacity. And those were, to me, the most important ingredients. When we came into office, we had a program. The president had already identified 5 areas that he wanted to excel, and we went at it. We had difficulties, but we also were well connected. Our government had people with contacts throughout the world, and that is very important. Sometimes we tend to forget. The other time I was talking to a friend, and we saying that how can you be president, you don't have friends?
Well, you have friends, but
where are the friends?
Perhaps not well-meaning friends.
No, not only that, not positioned to help you. Kofor got it from Japan, got it from China, got it from America, got it from Germany. What are we seeing in the last 4 or 5 years? Which country has come to the aid of Ghana? That's, to me, a very crucial thing. We were well connected. People who had lived their life with varied experiences, built extensive contacts, they can say, this is a friend of mine somewhere, let's get to him, he will help. So we have this MR route for nothing. We had this central region route being paid for by the Japanese for nothing. These are not things that happen by chance. It is because of the contact that we had developed over the years, and managed and shepherded and delivering to us at the time that we needed it. What is it that we're getting these days? Our first visit as a nation president is to Iran.
Okay, we'll talk on the economy, and crucially also, I know that you have numerous positions on how you feel that the country, perhaps in terms of direction, needs to go. When you were Minister of Trade, and subsequently Minister for Regional Integration as well, those ministries, so to speak, if you look at the efforts that were being made at the time, what inroads have we made, and what have been some of the perhaps setbacks?
We initiated so many programs. The first target of our ministry in respect of trade is to promote Ghanaian exports. We were very aggressive in this AGOA thing, the African Growth and Opportunities Act. That gave us more opportunity than we ever had. That we, among a few selected countries, can export all our goods free of tariff, free of quota to the U.S. market. And in some instances, even being given support to do that, technical support to do that. We did a lot to facilitate that. All these things that people are taking credit were, the Friday were introduced during that period. We were exporting bulgur baskets. I went to Germany to facilitate increased export of Ghanaian products. We were exporting at the peak these pineapples, oranges, bananas. Those were the things that will sustain an economy. And if you look back today, the problems we have with dealing with foreign exchange, you don't want me to get there now, but we were generating enough to keep us going. So it wasn't by chance. We targeted the sector that will strengthen the small business scale. Even though the ADIP had been passed by Parliament during the NDC regime, it had NDC regime. It had now been activated. I activated it and started providing support for small-scale businesses that were intent on exporting to overseas market. I opened the first Ghana Trade House as a hub for people who are interested in trading with us, particularly importing things from us in Mauritius. I went there and opened it. When I came into office, we did not have trade officers, commercial officers in any of our embassies. We opened some in Brussels and all the other major places. So we will have a person designated as a commercial officer that is responsible to the Ministry of Trade and Industry to promote Ghanaian exports. This is on trade. Industry. Difficult challenges have always been faced by our industries. We needed to provide a competitive base for our industries, and we worked very closely. This domestic content bill, I was the first to introduce it to Parliament for approval, and I worked very closely with the Ghana Chamber of Commerce and AGI to shepherd it, get a bill that will, one, serve the Ghanaian business community and yet not discourage foreign investors from coming into our country. We did a lot within the short period that we were in that position, creating a platform that eventually will give Ghanaian exporters the opportunity to grow and be competitive. We did that at trade and industry. When I moved to ECOWAS, we did even better. We grabbed this opportunity that came our way. What do we call it? That through which we open up the opportunity to have a school feeding program. As you recall, it was called the NEPA school feeding program.
Was it not within the period we had the APRMs?
This is what I was missing. The APRM, Ghana was among the 5 countries selected because we were the first country to complete the APRM program, and elevated us to a level. Even this fund that we got to build the MY, the Millennium Challenge Fund, a lot of it was in appreciation of the work that we had done as a country in solidifying democracy and expanding the frontiers of democracy in our country. Through the APRM program, we were the first country to do that, and we were the first country among the 10 countries selected to do a pilot program on school feeding. And one day I was just sitting in my office. Let me say this for the record, because everybody takes credit for everything. I was sitting in my office. The Dutch ambassador calls me, said he wanted to see me. When he came, he told me that as part of the Hunger Millennium Challenge Hunger Project, they are interested in supporting the school.
So that's how the Dutch came in?
That's how the Dutch came in. I took him to the president. And they made the first, we sought about what, 40 million. I don't know finally how much, I don't recall finally how much they provided to us. They provided funds for 5 years.
Consistently.
And that's the genesis of the school feeding program and the support that we have received. I think we did our best. And I'm not here to take credit. I work under a president who gave us a broad sense of direction and guidance. And we all fitted in. But I did what I could the period that I was in government.
Okay. Now, towards the end of, 2008 then, you and a couple of others were all interested in becoming president. What was the motivation, if I may ask? And do you think that was the right time at all? Because sometimes the clock ticks and you don't know whether the clock is ticking in your direction.
It's very difficult to tell what the right time is, because in the final analysis you don't make the decisions. You have a desire. You feel a burning desire to do something. And I suppose it's only natural that people who come into politics have a desire to make a change. I can't say maybe the only desire. People have all kinds of desire, but among others is to make change. I have been motivated by that desire to see Ghana as a different country. And this desire has been built up maybe because of my background. And if you give me time, I'll tell you what is motivating me. I am a rural kid. I was born in a rural environment in Acquah Nana in the Ashanti region of Fenso district. I went to Acquah Nana Methodist Primary, Acquah Nana Methodist Middle School. From there I went to Chumbu Secondary School. But before then, I was born to 2 illiterate parents, but very hard-working parents. They taught us a few values that have guided my life. Hard work, service to country, and service to God. Very highly religious. When I was young, I used to preach at the church, the Methodist church When I went to secondary school, I was the president of SU, Scripture Union. So you can see where I was coming from. I always have felt, and now it's a cliche to say that because every politician says something has guided them. But I strongly felt that there was a guiding hand in my life. From a rural environment such as I had, coming from Acquah Nana Methodist Primary to Acquah Secondary School, now one of the elite secondary schools with illiterate parents, and tomato is the big deal in our area. When I come from secondary school, my mother would give me a plot of land that I had to farm and help pay the fees. This is what I did. I have seen what it means to live in a rural environment. I've seen what it means to live in poverty. I've seen what it means to be a farmer.
And as a result, do you think you can impact other people's lives?
I have been so lucky in my life. From there, to Acquah Secondary School, I won an essay competition, and it took me out of Ghana. From the age of 17, I took control of my life in the United States. Never turned back. When I came back to Ghana, I had been gone for almost 22 years. During that period, I finished high school, bachelor's, master's, PhD, taught in 3 universities, worked for the UN in Croatia, in South Africa. Some village boy, all of a sudden, the opportunities abounded for me. But one thing that has always been with me, I've never forgotten where I came from and my responsibility to those that I left behind. What has motivated me, among other things, and I'm coming to answer your question, is that over the 22 years that I left Acquah Nana, my life has been transformed. And I've asked myself, what has happened to those that I left behind? What has been the status of their lives? In many instances, so much changed, but nothing has changed. The poverty is still there. The people are left behind doing tomato farming, still do tomato farming. The hoe and cutlass that I used 20, 30 years ago, with all the modern technology that has come into place, still, not only the people in my hometown, Acquah Nana, but the entire country, the most common popular agricultural tool in our country in the 21st century is cutlass and hoe.
And you think that should change?
I think it should have changed way before now. I feel that I have a sense of responsibility to help create opportunities for change, to help transform this country. It cannot be the case that people who succeed are people who are already endowed, who come from particular background, particular family. It cannot be the case. So those of us who have been lucky to get through, whether by chance or by luck or whatever it is, we have a responsibility to help change the rest. So people like me from backgrounds such as I can aspire to the highest office of the land. But that's not the only reason. We live in a dynamic world. The changes going on around us, you ask ourselves, do we deserve to live the lives that we live today? And my answer is no.
Why?
Because we have what it takes to become developed. The countries that have succeeded are not better than us. Lucky for me, and that is maybe one of my inspirations. When I left at the age of 17, I still went to high school. I sat there with American students and studied with them. Look at my background. I competed so well, had scholarship throughout all. So it's not that they are smarter than us.
So it means that if you're given equal opportunities,
if we're given equal opportunities with effective visionary leadership, leadership that can plan ahead and look beyond themselves, we can succeed. And that's what I want to do. That's what I offer to this country.
The thing I've learned about party politics in Ghana is that it's about being a grassroots person or appealing to the grassroots people, and especially now that your party has expanded its electoral college to in excess of over 140,000 people across board. If you have an ambition to lead your party into any election, you need to convince them. How persuasive do you think that you can be in carrying them along with this type of vision you have?
I am one of them. I'm one of them. What it is that they do is what I've done. And I have to remind them that I'm not smarter than any of them. It's the opportunity that I had. And the opportunity that I had today is not available to many. One opportunity to have a family that was so committed to education. If you don't have that, we have to drill into the minds of our parents today that even if you decide to continue to be a farmer, quality education can help improve your productivity and your managerial skills. Let me tell you, when I was going to go to class 1, my father was a butcher. And he said, no, he won't let me go to class 1. He wants me to be a butcher. My mother said, no, I can't let him be a butcher. The argument ensued. My mother, an illiterate but visionary woman, said, even if Kopi is going to be a butcher, let him get education and he'll be the best butcher in this town. That's the message that I want to send to the young men and women of our country. Even if you're going to be a butcher, get some education. The government has a responsibility to create programs and policies and environment that allows you to become more productive wherever you find your life, wherever you find yourself in life. There are opportunities to do better, and those opportunities may not necessarily be only that you have, but the implements that are available to you, the education that you have, and how the social services are organized. Today, you look at the ordinary family, like the family that I came out of. They get up in the morning, they are preoccupied. I'm not talking about Greater Accra, Metropolitan, Kumasi. I'm talking about the bulk of our people. They are occupied with just feeding their children so that they can live one day at a time. When somebody is sick, they run to a family member. They run to MP. They run to their church leader. There's no leverage anywhere. There is no open window for anybody. Their life is a life of struggle from the day they are born to the day they die. And you ask yourself, can it be the case that we have all these resources? What is it that we do not have? What is the missing ingredient? The missing ingredient is leadership. Quality, selfless, visionary, strong, bold leader to take bold decisions. It cannot be the case that all these countries that have succeeded are wiser than we are. They are intelligent than we are.
Well, they have the right leaders.
They have leaders.
Do you acknowledge that currently the cross-section of the electorate or the population do not trust politicians?
I will not be surprised. Why? We have not delivered.
You don't know?
I said I'm not surprised they won't trust us. If you read like I do today what is going on in our country, look at the way national resources are being managed. Look at the waste and look at the level of corruption. Why should I pay taxes when I know my tax money is going into waste? That's the argument the ordinary person is making. Yesterday somebody told me something, I don't want to repeat it because I've not checked, it may not be correct and I don't want to indulge in these things. But you live in a country where government management of national resources leave a whole lot to be desired. So why should they trust? They think they make us politicians so we become rich for our family members and for ourselves. Because what benefit do they get? Look at even in Greater Accra. Yesterday I visited a friend of mine at my estate. This is relatively middle class person, not so wealthy. He has to dig his own borehole in his house. He has to have his own generator. And when they said that, they all being levied to pay 1,000 Ghana cedis, all the people in that community, so they can do the roads there. I asked myself, so what is it that people pay money for? If I have to have my borehole, do my own borehole, if I have to have my own generator, if I have to have do my own roads, what is the purpose of government anymore? So this is where the cynicism comes. People are so suspicious. What is it that the government is supposed to offer to us?
Well, I get your point. We haven't gotten there yet in terms of talking about government yet, because the whole point is you need to cross the party and say, perhaps this is what I have, the vision I have for the country, you need to penetrate your party as well. Are you in a position to say today that you're willing to contest the flag bearership position of your party, for example?
Yes, I am.
And what is motivating you? All these you said?
I've said it all. My motivation is that I think I can make a significant contribution to move our country from where we are onto a new trajectory that will allow us to transform our economy from this agrarian, non-productive economy to a robust industrial economy. It can be done. There's nothing theoretical about this. Human beings do it. We have human beings in this country that are capable to do it. Let's not underestimate our capacity and our intelligence to do what is right and to become a prosperous nation. We can do it. And indeed, we were on our way to doing it. Look at the 5, 6, 8 years of NPP government. The milestones that we made. If we would have continued on that trajectory, today we would not be just a middle income, upper middle income country heading towards first income.
That's very ambitious. But in the meantime,
why should we not be ambitious?
But in the meantime, though, if you take a look at the politics around us, all right, especially within your party. I've interacted with a number of personalities as well, and I keep telling them that, well, Nana Ama seems to be the front runner. I haven't done any scientific polls.
Then do your scientific polls. Why should you speculate? You are a journalist. You're supposed to be very independent. If you haven't done the research, you have no basis to draw conclusions.
Well, because since he returned from the UK, he's had a lot of crowds following him.
But you should know better than that. You should know better. My father, Professor Dubois, in 1996, 1995, when they went to the Legon primaries or the Congress, when he entered the room, there's not a single body that did not move. Nobody ever thought he would lose. It was just incredible.
What are you saying?
Fantastic. What else is there to describe it? If you have President Kufuor, he will confess to you. Nobody thought that there was any possibility. 10, 20 minutes later, they did the voting. Kufuor won. Leave those things to those who know better. I don't have the capacity to predict anything. If anything at all, we can do a poll. And since you haven't done your poll, don't spread news that you have no basis.
So you're saying surprises happen all the time?
Not every day. Every single day. You and I, except you have capacity that I cannot predict. I'm not one of those who sees anything other than the ordinary. There are others who see things other than the ordinary. And there are those who make those decisions. Leave them to make their decisions. At this stage, all we have is that we have no presidential candidate. The field is open. We want a level playing field. And what people like you say, do not allow that level playing field to prevail. You have no business saying that Kufuor is the leading man. You confess to be that. You haven't done any research. A person like you should not talk like that. And your colleagues, all of them should learn. This is a democracy. You have a right to exercise, express your views.
You feel that the media too has been part of the current misinformation, so to speak?
I'm sure you know the answer to that question.
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm asking.
Well, I will leave you to find out from your colleagues.
By you saying all that you've said, then what do you think then the party needs to have as a vision?
Our party has a vision. Our party has a clear vision that has not changed. And that is why we should be worried about what has happened to our party in the last 2 elections.
What has happened?
We've lost 2 elections. And the general broad philosophy and vision of our party has not changed. If anything, it's the leadership of our party that has changed. And I'm not talking about only the presidential leadership. The leadership has changed from polling station to constituency to regional to national and to the presidential candidate. So all of us are collectively responsible for our performance because it's the same machine that won the elections. Why is it that it's unable to win more any more elections. So at least.
But you said that, what do you think is wrong?
Oh, then let me tell you where we be, and then you tell me, you yourself can answer. All I know is that I like numbers, statistics. I did a minor in statistics, and I love to look at trends, what is going on. And what has gone on is that we have lost miserably in votes in Ashanti region, from 80% to 70.69%. That is significant in an election, because elections are won sometimes with 0.001%. If you have such a significant decline, you worry. We have lost elections in Eastern region from 60% to now 56%. Greater Accra, we lost it completely in 2 consecutive elections. Eastern Buaha, 2 consecutive elections we have lost. Take Upper West, Upper East. Those have been very difficult regions for us. But the last time, in 2008, we had 35%. 2012, we have 29%.
The numbers have dwindled.
Dwindling. Go to Volta region. Give me a chance. Volta region. We went to as far as 15-16%. Today, we are back to 12%. Meanwhile, NDC, they set a target that they wanted to have 20% of Ashanti votes. Today, they are about 18%. They are ancient there. They said they want to have 30% of the votes in Eastern region. They have 28%. We, on the other hand, we set the target about 20 or so in Volta region. We went up to 16. We are back to 12. Upper East, Upper West. We are contesting with the party that starts every election with 4 regions already declared for them before the campaign starts. Upper East, Upper West, Northern region and Volta. Whether they campaign or not, they have that in the bank. That should be of concern to us. I am not blaming anybody. I am part and parcel of all of this. But it cannot be the case that having lost 2 consecutive elections, we can pretend that we can walk into another election without fundamental changes, be it in leadership, be it in policy, be it in perception, be it anything. If you lose an election, there's something wrong, because otherwise you will have won. So find that which is wrong and deal with it.
Well, I've heard arguments that by you going to the court through an election petition, having gone through and getting a verdict that for many legal people doesn't sway on the left, doesn't sway on the right, is in the middle, but of course government is still in power, means that there's some level of vindication about the truth that perhaps it could have gone either way.
It doesn't change anything.
So their introspection.
Our desire is to have political power. And I'm not here to question the validity of the judgment of the Supreme Court. I can't, and I'm not supposed to indulge in that. I deal with reality. The reality today is that Mama is the president of Ghana, whether you like it or not, whether I like it or not. I don't like it, but that is the reality. And as a politician, we have to face reality. We all saw what happened at the polling stations. We can't say that we have no responsibility there. We could do better in respect of what happened there, and let us focus on those and correct those, strengthen our weaknesses, deal with our perceptions. How can it be the case that we can't penetrate the Zongos? If you put all the Zongos in Ghana together, that is another region, and before the whistle is blown for elections to begin, it is also locked in a bank. So what I'm saying is that, like the Republican Party of the United States, we should be going through a process of soul searching.
Do you think you're doing that?
We are not.
So when do you think it should start?
Well, we don't have a whole lot of time. We don't have a whole lot of time, because when these election processes start, everything is politicized. If you make a suggestion, it's interpreted differently. So we are all involved in these ways, and the divisions and the different perceptions are at play. It makes it difficult to do reforms. But we can't pretend like everything is dandy.
Your new chairman and his entire executive, they convened a press conference, they made a press conference, and they said there was a need to have a sense of unity of purpose among all personalities and their supporters who want to contest, so that there's no bickering here and there and they don't give ammunition to the opposition. Do you buy into that very
Completely. I've been saying this for a long time. We need to know who we are fighting with. We are now fighting among ourselves. The NDC is our target. We ought to keep our eye on the prize, and the prize is 2016 elections. Whatever it takes within the limits of the law and constitutionality to snatch power from NDC, we ought to do it. And fighting among ourselves do not enhance that opportunity, or does not enhance that opportunity.
So far, what do you make of the way politics is being undertaken, not only in your party but generally as a country?
I think we are in a country where we have not learned the art of consensus building in our country. We are too bipartisan. There's too much political patronage in our system. You have to belong to this party to survive. As if you lose an election, you don't qualify to live again, because every opportunity is blocked. So we have, as a nation, to be looking at the way to use democracy, not just as a personal weapon to antagonize, but as a tool for national development. You can't govern a country such as we have in this country with 50.1% of the votes, and when 49.7 or so is sitting out there, and they don't count. They are not Ghanaians, they can't get contract, they can't make input into the government. What kind of logic is this? What kind of logic is this? How can you ignore almost half the population in everything you do? We are not invited to any function, our views are not sought. Every time we have to open our mouth, we have to open it to criticize, because that's the only opportunity you have, and that is the only avenue. Whereas there are ideas that all of us can share. Nobody has monopoly on ideas or knowledge, but we have allowed ourselves to buttonhole into LPP, NDC, CPP. If I want to even say something good about NDC, I'm afraid to say, because my people say, hey, what has happened? He's sold out. Because we have created that environment that makes it difficult. I have colleagues in parliament in NDC that we were in parliament together. I can't talk to any of them, because the next day you are branded as if somehow when you are not NPP, NDC or MPP or whatever, then you are not a Ghanaian. We all live in this country.
So
we all pay a price for incompetence, for corruption, for the abuses of office that is become rampant. We all pay a price for it. And therefore, if I know something that can help change it, I have a responsibility to do that. And the political environment should create an opportunity for us to dialogue. We don't.
Okay, thank you very much. Dr. Apraku has been speaking to me today on AM Talk and sharing with us his own views about what the country is at the moment as far as governance is concerned, his own ambitions, and also what his party, the new patriotic party, which he hopes to lead into 2016, should be when the time is there. Well, that's been it for AM Talk.